Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The financial surplus of the state's general budget amounts to 85 million Omani riyals, while revenues exceed 1 billion Omani riyals by the end of January. The completion rate in the construction work of the fishing port development project in the Wilaya of Daba in Musandam Governorate reaches 70%. And the United Nations renew its gratitude and appreciation for the role of the Sultanate of Oman in supporting lasting peace and stability in Yemen. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The state's public revenues witnessed an increase of about 33% until the end of last January, recording about 1 billion and 4 million Omani riyals compared to 982 million Omani riyals in the same period in the year 2023 due to the increase in current revenues by 132%. The state's general budget also recorded a financial surplus amounting to about 85 million Omani riyals compared to recording a surplus of 145 million Omani riyals in the same period last year. Public spending until the end of last January amounted to about 929 million Omani riyals, an increase of 92 million Omani riyals, 11% over actual spending for the same period last year as a result of the increase in development expenditures. The completion rate in the construction work of the fishing port development project in the Wilaya of Daba in Musandam Governorate has reached 70%. The project, which costs 40 million Omani riyals, includes 4 basic sectors, including the fishing sector, the tourism sector, the maritime transport and trade services sector, and the maritime security sector. The project includes marinas and a beach for docking small boats, and an area of 5,000 square meters has been allocated for investment in a tourist hotel, restaurant complexes, and tourist services. The Sultanate of Oman affirmed its commitment to the principles of human rights and achieving gender equality to ensure that women's needs and stability are met, and to enhance and develop areas of their participation in community development and improve their quality of life. This came during the Sultanate of Oman's speech at the 68th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, which was delivered by Her Excellency Dr. Leila bint Ahmed al-Najjar, Minister of Social Development. The United Nations renewed its gratitude for the role of the Sultanate of Oman in supporting lasting peace and stability in the Republic of Yemen. This was expressed by His Excellency Hans Grundberg, the UN Special Envoy to Yemen, during his meeting with His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Mohammed bin Awad al-Hassan, the permanent representative of the Sultanate of Oman to the United Nations in New York, within the framework of submitting his periodic report to the United Nations on developments in the situation in the Republic of Yemen. The UN envoy explained that the Omani efforts are crucial to the international community, especially since they emphasize the unity and stability of Yemen towards establishing strong, peaceful relations between it and the rest of its neighbors and surroundings. His Excellency also expressed his optimism about the possibility of achieving progress in the peaceful negotiating process of the Sultanate of Oman towards restoring security and stability in the Republic of Yemen. A delegation of ambassadors and mission heads from ASEAN countries accredited to the Sultanate of Oman visited the North Al-Sharqiyya Governorate to gain insights into the investment and economic aspects of the Governorate. More details are in the following report.
As part of the economic diplomacy efforts undertaken by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with the offices of the governors, to attract foreign investment and promote the country's potential to investors. A delegation of the ambassadors and mission heads from the ASEAN countries who are accredited to Oman paid a visit to the North al-Sharqiyya Governorate to gain insights into the investment and economic aspects of the governorate.
The visit aims to strengthen economic relationship between the Sultanate of Oman and ASEAN countries, and is also translation of the economic diplomacy carried out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in cooperation with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment to actually promote and attract all the opportunities in the North Sharqiyya Governorate. And we present many opportunities to the delegations and agreed to discuss it more in details in the future. And there will be a future visit to actually focus on ground on many issues related to the different sectors.
We are trying to find out what we can learn here and any opportunities that we can work together between ASEAN and also Al-Sharqiyya North. So we are, of course, if we can find something that we can work on, this will be a very good start for the enhancements of our relations between ASEAN and Oman as a group.
The delegation was given an informative visual presentation that highlighted various investment opportunities in the economic, touristic, and cultural domains. Additionally, the presentation covered agriculture, education, and training sectors, while also reviewing the available prospects across the North al-Sharqiyya Governorate.
We introduced them to the tourism components of the governorate, its competitive advantages and investment opportunities. We also presented at the features of the customs and traditions of the Sultanate, the festivals held on its land, the most prominent development projects and its infrastructure.
Both sides discussed enhancing cooperation, sustainable development, trade exchange, investment opportunities, and partnership. They emphasized the importance of exchanging investment opportunities between entrepreneurs, small and medium-sized enterprises, and economic and touristic projects owners. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Salih bin Khalfan al-Rahbi, North al-Sharqiyya Governorate.
And in the Palestinian front, the Zionist occupation forces has killed 6 Palestinians and wounded dozens of others as crowds of residents awaited 8 trucks in Gaza City. Palestinians were rushing to get aid supplies at the Kuwait roundabout in northern Gaza City late yesterday evening when Israeli forces opened fire, residents and health officials said. In a Nusayrat camp in the central Gaza Strip, Palestinian health officials said 8 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike that hit an aid distribution center. The Gaza Health Ministry said today that Israeli military strikes across Gaza Strip had killed 69 Palestinians and wounded 110 others in the past 24 hours. The conflict in Gaza has displaced most of the enclave's 2.3 million population. Airdrops and a maritime corridor will not be enough to make up for supplies transported by trucks into Gaza, where people are on the verge of famine, the European Union's top humanitarian aid official said today. Janez Lenarčič, the EU's humanitarian aid and crisis management chief, said land routes were the quickest, easiest and cheapest way to get supplies into Gaza. There is a risk of famine, Lenarčič told reporters. Gaza has been effectively sealed off since Israel began its war with the resistant fighters. The United Nations estimates more than 500,000 of Gaza's 2.3 million people are on the brink of starvation. European Union countries agreed to provide 5 billion euros for military aid to Ukraine as part of a revamp of an EU-run assistance fund, handing Kiev a timely boost as its forces struggle against Russia's invasion. Ambassadors from the EU's 27 member countries agreed to the overhaul of the European Peace Facility Fund at a meeting in Brussels after months of wrangling with EU heavyweights, France and Germany at the center of much of the debate. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main headlines once again. The financial surplus of the state's general budget amounts to 85 million Omani riyals, while revenues exceed 1 billion Omani riyals by the end of last January. The completion rate in the construction work of the fishing port development project in the Wilaya of Daba in Musandam Governorate reaches 70%. And the United Nations renew its gratitude and appreciation for the role of the Sultanate of Oman in supporting lasting peace and stability in Yemen. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and have a lovely weekend.